Ak yehayati uhan. Gostach a kitchan kayiti. Bill gusu shit the ain.
Yadu,
Okay.
Yadu.
Okay, let's start off with kind of a challenging exercise. One of the hardest things I think to do, maybe, is to write down people's Tlingit names because Tlingit names are just kind of tricky. Aqaq tuasagu qanachawe wushwutusku adusawe uhan gudachsawe dasawe hasaku yeawa aqaq eka wushwutusku yeawa achtuasagu chakakat yuhan you can cheesh isai aya kakwaaq ya yata akach aya kakwadati ya diacheti qatqa qunne lekachinach Lance Mitchell yatetsu oh let's be bigger
Oh, good. Bigger.
do ani Audanuk. Maybe you have many names. We can write down as many as you want, but tell us the name that you would prefer, and then your English name, so we can make sure everything matches up. And one of our big goals here is to not really use our English names for each other. So it's pretty common for us that people will talk to me at the university and they'll say, "Yeah, I saw, such and such." I'm like, "Who?" And then I guess, because I think about their Tlingit names. That's what we want, is that association with the Tlingit name. So I guess we should also put, so let's see, Sangku, we'll just pluralize all of this. And then, I guess there's kind of two ways we should think about the next part. And this is her awesome idea, so we can get to know each other. I would like to know Guksa. Uh-oh. Hold on. Let me make sure the chat room's open. Okay, yeah, and so if you can't put an accent mark on, don't worry about it. We can figure out where it goes, and you can tell us. I'll do my best to spell Tlingit names, but they're kind of hard to spell. So this is kind of like Guksa. We'll just do the short version, like where are you? And then what Kwan are you from? It's just sort of like where are your people from? So let's see. I would say Ak, but I'm from Skut. Kwan with an N. Okay. Let's do the room.
Qanana shawi khato samakshim yakhina. Sayani kianoya akhtanaka sayi.
T-S.
T-S apostrophe A-A-Y-E-N-E-E-K-E-E-L-N-O.
L-N-O.
Lekachinach erkak yukhato sa ak Ashta Khan G-G-A-A-L space capital D O H.
Okay. Sheesh.
Um,
Qunanashawu. Maybe everybody say it. Qunanashawu.
Shawu.
Qunanashawu.
Shawu.
Okay, sheesh. Okay, send it around the room.
Hech sachu ach juwu kua kuchiech shikach gave me the name for class.
Oh, okay.
Chutz a uhu
Hoots.
a uhu.
Oh.
Might also
This.
Gwen
Bear tooth?
ukui outside the body.
Oh. It would, I think it would just be uhu. Right, like a
Uhu akwe.
aqua.
Far away.
Oh. What does it translate to?
It's bear tooth,
Okay.
but not in the bear's mouth.
Hoots uhu.
And she actually said hoots a uhu.
Okay, we could do that too.
That's not a name that's formally been given to me.
Okay.
It's not a traditional name.
Okay, there's a few in here that they'll have names like that.
that's it.
Okay. Like how saya?
Bob Fagan, Fagen.
Ak.
Washtan Kwan.
Oh, okay. Okay. There might be a tone in that wash tone. Gonna cheesh. Hoots uhu.
Hoots a uhu.
Hoots uhu.
Hoots a uhu.
Hoots uhu. Okay. The is totally optional. Like a lot of times when there's a uhu, the hoots would kick it out. So hoots uhu would be another way to say it. Okay, gonna cheesh. Ithoha. Kuatun. Have you ever spelled it before?
Kuatong.
I'm sorry, Ku.
Atoong.
Okay.
That's how how they have it spelled at HI.
Okay. And can you say it for me?
I don't even know if I'm saying it right. I've asked around to the elders and family members, and I don't even know if it's spelled right, if I'm saying it right. I don't know the meaning. My grandparents and my parents don't know.
Well, you say it and we'll say it like you do. I just want to make sure it's spelled kind of like you're saying. And don't worry. Kuatun. I'm going to take the G off the end.
There was another spelling for it that I have, but I don't remember where it's at.
Okay. Because it could be two things. It could be Kuwatun or Kuwatun. What do you think it sounds like when people say it?
Nobody really says my name.
Okay. We'll stick with this and we'll just figure it out. It'll be all good. Kuwatun. Or is it high? Sorry. Kuwatun. I think it's high. Kuwatun. Kuwatun.
Kuatun.
Okay. Tekakenachkoa.
Juanita, WAUGHNITA. James Elton.
The hyphen?
Yes.
And how do you spell the next one?
ELTON.
You're here in town?
Yep.
You don't fly in for class every twice a week? Hunakawokshe? Okay. Finish cheesh.
Kachnaat.
Kachnaat. Do you have a spelling? Do you want me to try?
KAAX. AA dot KT. I think it's an underline and I can't remember.
Okay. AA.
Oh, space. N AA dot AT.
I tone A-T? Or just like that? Okay, and how do you say it?
Kachnaat.
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 I'm trying to put a tone on there, I'm sorry. Oh, and it turned you into a website. This is cool. Oh, look, it took me there. Naat.com. Is it a clothing store? No. Somebody buy NAA.AT, and we're going to sell like the most dynamite Tlingit clothing there. Oh, that's okay.
Bandy. BANDY.
BY?
James.
Okay, there's cheesh. Let's meander back up this way. Wa'ah.
S high tone EI, A, space, Tla. Tla is LA. I think there's a pinch on the L.
Oh, okay.
A, Tla, and the space again after LA, WUX underline pinch. It's A, Tla,
Say,
Say.
Tla,
say, awoo.
Say.
Say, awoo.
Say.
Say, awoo.
Say.
Hey, Taikakenachkoa.
Katie Harmon, KATY, HARMAN. Oh, and I live in Douglas. Is there a
North Douglas?
No.
Who? Okay, can cheesh. Let's see, I'm going to mute folks online. It's a little bit of jingle jangle going on out there. Okay. Oops.
Hasanak. Underlined KAASANAK. High tone over the last A.
Hasanak.
Hasanak.
Hasanak. Taikakenachkoa.
Patty McNeil.
The Y?
TTY. Yeah.
Aukage.
Ah. Ah.
Katkoankoa. Okay,
Hot.
okay. Cheesh. Yiitkoa.
Tlingit sais.
Ikhawoga.
Yeah. Put
Bring
it
it back.
Sure, we can bring it back.
Okay. We named him for his thick beard, his black bear hair. Ikhawu.
Cow.
Ikhawu. Okay.
Yeah, Miguel Roebuck, are you doing this?
Miguel.
Yep.
Rohr Bacher.
Yeah. My name's like unpronounceable in Tlingit.
Right. That's the hardest name to spell so far.
I found a name for downtown Douglas for instead of Anak Ya Andegan.
Oh, yeah, okay.
If we wanted.
Anach Ye Andaganye.
Ya Andegan.
No.
Usue annachje aan de ganje.
It's Douglas butter.
Ah.
Where the sun shines through. Okay, wash down Kwanaga.
New Mexico Kwan.
Oh, yake. Yekwati.
Oh, same place. That's where the sun is.
Tlingit Sai down south.
Oh, Ichki. But we could just, it could always be like how they would say it wherever it is. Like if someone was from, like the Yucatan, so you'd say Yucatan Kwan. Because that's how it works. We'll throw a little Tlingit in there. You okay? You could lobby for a new name if you wanted a new name. It's up to you.
She's not gonna let me.
You can have multiple nicknames. It's fine. Okay. Chun. Chun. Chun doesn't, oh, it doesn't just mean like stinky. It just means it's strong. Oh, Chun that's Walter Sokolov's name. That's a big name. S.
Oh, S-O-N.
Alkaka. Ku'uwuko'a. Ikwani.
Where I grew up or where my people are?
Where are your people from? Okay. Itkoha.
Shocked.
You're putting it, there's a tone on there? Shock. Okay. Tlekakinako'a.
Alice Taff.
Alkaka. Ikwan ko'a.
Deutschland.
Ooh. DEU.
ECH. Heshwasaku. LA.
Boom. That's how we're gonna. Ooh, too high, like super high. Yake gunchish. Ichtide ku'u yit kuaha. Where'd everybody go?
Oh, you muted.
Yacht juhatu asak.
Oops. Plekátina choa.
Peter Stanton.
T-O-N again.
Ah. Tanta.
Tanta. Yeah, well.
Washtan Kwan.
Goodness, cheese. Yacht. Yacht.
Yeah.
Yacht. My favorite storyteller is Susie James. And she's telling this story, and she says, she's talking about Raven comes down and he lands on this kelp, and he's trying to rest because he was so tired. And then he hears something, she's all in Tlingit. He hears something behind him, and then she goes, you know? And then she says, Yacht, sea arch. And that's how she tries to say it in English. And then she asks her daughter, "What's that do a sock?" And her daughter says, "Sea otter." So she says, "Sea art." And then she keeps telling the story. My favorite moments. Okay, can chish. Iti a adusa. Also. Cooking.
Yeah.
Oh, you okay? Cook. What's that you do a sock?
Aska. Aska.
Ah,
One A in the front.
oh. Teka.
Okay.
Like Katina Choa.
Underline D, yeah, or
Oh,
uh
okay.
Daphne, right? AKA Duffy.
Dichuch achin kananig. Just play Taye and the cage, Daphne.
Okay.
Guksawa. Huna
Huna.
Hunakawoksha. Goodness cheese.
There's
Adusa e inchtia.
G.
Oh, okay.
That's an easy one.
Okay.
One word. It's one word.
Adechitiksha.
Yeah, well,
Okay. Play kalchinach.
Genevieve Cook.
Genevieve Cook.
VIVE.
Yes. Genevieve.
IEVE.
EIV. Goodness cheese.
EI.
Kaden Kwasaku.
Geneve.
Han kananig.
Denevie. V like in Victor.
So ye and a kashtakenach.
Geneve. V like in Victor. IEVE.
Good luck.
Hey.
Hunach chatko do us, ha? You did. LG.
Deo
LG.
G
Ashke.
Rashke
Ashke.
Rashke
Tlingit cheese Johan. Didqa do sa.
Cut days.
Okay.
Audigon. Sid Hartley.
Damn. Guksawe, eh?
Kitchcon.
Daxawe wa ekhoa.
Washdown Kwan.
Okay.
Or do you put like where my people are like from, or do I
Yeah.
just say Washington?
Do that too.
Switzerland.
Oh. Ah. Goodness cheese. Washington Quan just means you're from Boston.
Oh, no, I thought it meant Washington.
No.
Definitely not Boston.
Go Sox. Okay.
My God.
Goodness cheese. Audigon.
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 Idet kwa adusa. Just dacha kurz ti gwash idet.
Quantlain, Yadu.
Okay. Wasa to spell.
XWAAN, Frost. Plain, beach, LEIN. It's all one word.
Sheesh.
Virginia Oliver.
Guksawa.
Kachkanach Yeti.
Ooh, kach. Khan.
Kech Quantachayachat.
Okay. Goodness cheese. Juan Lane. Juan Lane. Yeah, okay. You did quoi adusa?
I will go.
Good.
My first Tlingit name, Yedikuk Ayuchat Duasak. And I have a second name, Nasliye Sheikh Etla.
Tuyanaka? Tuyanaka, say it again.
Nasliye Sheikh Etla.
Sheikh Itla?
Mm-hmm.
Like that? Okay.
Maybe a tone on the Sheikh though, but I'm not sure for the plural of songs.
Oh, it should be like that. It gets pushed long and low.
Okay.
I think. It should.
I'm not sure either.
Okay.
Dion Brady Howard.
One N or two? Two N's?
Two.
Hyphen?
Yep.
Guksa
Shitka.
Guksa e kwani koa.
Shitka Kwan.
Okay. Okay, and say your name one more time.
Which one?
Whichever one you prefer we use.
Yedikuka.
Yedikuka. Yedikuka. Okay, goodness cheese. Hasha yedehain. Okay. You did dusa.
Jacuzzi Shawat Yadu.
Okay.
Tiffany Pickrell.
Pick.
Rell.
Okay. Guksawa.
Kichkan.
Gudaksawa.
Shitka Kwan.
Okay. Shikuzi Shawat.
Shikuzi Shawat.
Shikuzi Shawat.
Shikuzi Shawat.
Nashish.
I think Yakdushe should go next.
Oh, Yakdushe, you've been voluntold.
Trade Akhenach Lisa DeWitt and Reno. You cut do a sock.
M
N
N.
ARINO.
Okay. Gusua.
Kitchkhan.
Dakwan koa.
Katkhan.
Shkat kwan again. Kdeinike kachshechit.
Hit train.
Oh, okay. Okay. Yakdushi.
Yakdushe.
Yakdushi.
Yakdushe.
Okay. Anybody not go yet?
Tlachanes, Yuchatuasak,
Ekachinech
Bill Burke,
Gusua.
Inya,
Udachsawe.
Oregon,
Okay. Kachanes. Kachanes. Okay, Gunchish. One more? Is there one more? Is that everybody?
Yes, I still have to go.
Okay, cook.
Anyanach Tla.
Is it close?
I don't think there are any high tones on the Yanach part.
Okay.
Yeah.
Like that?
Yes, and I think all of it except Tla is one word.
Oh, okay. Are the vowels short? Do you know? Like that?
I think it's the only one that's short is the last syllable.
Okay.
Yeah.
Tlekachinech
Ani Perkins.
Gusua.
Shitka.
Gudachsawe.
Shitka Kwan.
Shitka kwan again?
Ah.
Okay. Anyanach Ah. Gunnach cheese to cut Yuhan. Thanks everybody for sharing. I'll keep this list. I'm probably not a fan of putting this one on the website, but if you want me to, I could. I don't know. I could try and email it to everybody, maybe. That might be a little bit of a safer way to do it. Okay. Goodness cheese. So let's start talking about, or anybody got any thoughts, questions, anything like that?
Forever I've said that my that I'm from Shitka Kwan, and then because when I was learning about where we decipher where our people are from, I was following my mother's mother and her mother. Her mother, my great grandmother's Shitka Kwan, and my grandmother's father is Huna Kwan, but he's from Huna. He's Chekdane Tan from Huna, and she's Kagwantan from Shitka. And when I was speaking at the summer language immersion this May with Lily and Austin,
Oh, yeah.
I told her my name. She said that's a Huna name.
Oh, wow.
And I didn't know if I should be changing that, saying Huna Kwan or Shitka Kwan.
Okay. Yeah, that's a great question. So As far as Tlingit names and kwans, the relationship there is always kind of flexible. The way that it's been explained to me is you are from the place your name is from. But that gets complicated because there's lots of clans that share names, and then there could be, there could be 3 Yakdashis in one place right now, and they're all from actually 3 different communities as well. And so, what's that?
We have 3 in our family.
Yeah, right. So then, when there's 2 of them together and they say, or if there are 2 people named Khane, they're like, Khane, go take out the trash. I'd wait for the other one to move, right? So, what I was told is if you can trace your specific namesake to a house, that's where you're from. But I don't think it's wrong if I don't know if it's a really crystal clear type of thing, but I was told if I found out Khane, I could probably say I'm from Qunachu, even though I've never even been there, from Dry Bay, because that's where my name originates from. So that whole thing, which Kwan, it's a little complicated, but I was told it's wherever the house is that your name comes from, because usually a name belongs to a house, because that might be belonging to a clan, but it belongs to that specific house as well. And so it's something that's got it's a little bit slippery, I think. But anybody else have different thoughts on that?
Is the box house from Sitka?
I think so.
Because we're from the box house.
I also have in my introduction that I've been working with my brother where I say my people are from Grouse Fork.
Mm-hmm.
But I don't know anything about any of that.
So there's Kagnuwu, right? That's a place where the Kagwantan used to live at one point, right? And Huknuwu, I think, is another thing that people might say. And some of these are getting into a time when the clans were migrating and sometimes separating from each other. So Tekoidi, and then there's the big migration where Kagwantan branches off and Chukanadi branches off and Wushkitan branches off. And at one point, there might have been a whole group that came off as Huknukadi and then another group that came off as Kaknu. But if that could be part of your history too. It's pretty common for you to be belonging to a house, but then you also claim this sort of fort. And it usually has to do with the lineage. We might be the people that were at Kachanes Nu, and that's something that we could use as a crest, but then sometimes we could use that as an introduction too. And it could get also kind of complicated because someone who happens to be Kagwantan might hear that and say, oh yeah, I want to say that too. But they might be from a different Kagwantan, and so it might require some discussion to say, oh yeah, that's actually not you guys. And we get that with crests as well. So this group can use this crest. In Daislin, the Daishitan there use a split beaver because somebody saw one in a river one time. But that doesn't mean all the Daishitan everywhere can use that.
I know with our family crest, the Kagwantans, we have 3 S's on the nose.
Oh, really? Okay. Yeah, and there's specific ways that crests are done. And then sometimes we gotta, do a little bit of negotiating if somebody else makes that and they're a totally different clan, and then we gotta have some conversations and go in the parking lot. But then sometimes, payments can be made, but it's really important to keep track of this history too, right? Because it's not just adat aya you tuilaati ya expert khatsati just what atwas ku kaku aya has do 8 khosa akhnuchen which aye ku genki akhasaku Achtuasaku awushu gachtutla adi adat. Ajoe tel achtuasaku konachoe hadachkan kisani has ausaku sakuchsaku gudachsa has tushilko has wanachsaya adyacheti katujihit awe hashuka kya telchas chakugeyi atkoa. Ye achtuasaku kadain watusaku ajoe achtu yake wushu atul adi adat. I like to talk about this stuff like clans and where they're from and crests and names. But I always want to preface that by saying I'm not an expert, but I would listen to a lot of the old people and try to relay that information simply because I want our grandkids to know that stuff. I see a lot of people who are walking around, they don't know their clan, their crest, their histories. And I think it's important for us to sort of take the lid off of some of this stuff a little bit and not to try and tell anybody their own stories or anything like that, but just to try and navigate some of this stuff so that we have a clear idea ourselves. Because I think it was more a higher level of common knowledge at a certain point in time. And now some of that knowledge is getting a little endangered. So I do like to talk about it. There's lots of recordings out there too. So as you guys continue your language journeys and you start to become efficient translators, go into some of those old tapes and you're going to find some of those answers. You're going to find the names of some of those things. And you've got folks like Ken Gacy, David Katzik, and Qoneoti Marsha Hotch, who did this really amazing project with Zach Jones when he worked for Sealaska Heritage Institute, where they listened to the entire Dauenhower collection and then they wrote down what's in there. And so it involves other people as well historically, but just the wealth of recordings that we have, a lot of them are in Tlingit, so we need more people to learn the language and to actively listen to this stuff and translate it. But so much of our histories are out there in these recordings, and that's one of our goals, is to become proficient enough that we can interact with that material.
So I was confidently always saying Chitka Kwan, and then talking with Lillian and giving her my Tlingit name. She said, I knew her. She's my grandma's sister.
Mm-hmm.
So, and she knew my grandma. So she said, that's a Huna name. Well, I know my grandma grew up and was raised in Huna.
Oh, wow.
I know that about my grandma. So now I'm not sure. Because someone like Lillian Austin, who grew up with them likely, or knew them as children.
You could say Hunakau. If she says you can, then that's a pretty high level of
What did you say?
Hunakawu.
Kawu?
Yeah, so the other groups say Kwan. They say Hunakawu because they got pushed out of Glacier Bay. So they took that name Kawu because Kwan means like we're the people who belong to this land. And so whenever you hear Kwan, there's usually a place name right before it. Chilkoot, that's the name of that lake up there in Chilkoot. And so, but Huna is they took Kawu because they were upset that they got pushed out of their land.
But Kagwantan, Gooch, and Box House is Sitka.
Yeah, and then if you're feeling a little nervous about it too, you can go with the one that, you could say something like, in the context of your introduction, Shit ka kwan koa aksa yitsu hunakawu. So you could say my namesake is from Huna. Because the other thing too is like, it can get a little awkward if I walked around and said I'm a Dry Bay person. And then some people might say, you've never been to Dry Bay, you've barely even been to Yakutat. But but also you don't want to just sort of assume that you're from But then if you start talking and your namesake is from there, you physically are your namesake. Right? That's another Tlingit thing. If we really think about Tlingit Tundatani, like I'm not just me, Khone, I'm the other Khone that lived before me.
There are Kagwantan houses in Huna.
I was told it is Huna. It's
Oh,
From Huna, but we're originally from like Groundhog Bay. But after we got pushed out of Glacier Bay, they moved us to we settled in Groundhog Bay for a while, and then we all ended up moving to Huna. But it's pretty
I saw the same thing, that the names crossed clan lines under the Eagles because Paske and Kutin, Chukanadi, Chukanshaw, Susie James, Ka Amy Marvin, Ayakwe Akshat. So when I saw it, I thought, these are my sister's names.
Yeah.
So I thought they must be, this was my thinking, that possibly they were very old names that came from way back during the migrations, because they crossed Eagles, two clans on Glacier Bay, and then up where we're from in Klukwan, and then Yakdushin. That was my mother's older sister's name, who lived to be 90-something. That was Minnie Stevens' name.
Oh, really?
So Roseanne Natcon also had, that's one of her names. So I started to notice that it crossed clan lines within the Eagles from what I saw.
Yeah, I think Kashkes is another one. There's a Kagwantan Kashkes, and there's a Daklawidi Kashkes. So yeah, this is something we see too. And as we talk about At'u, this is why it's important to realize how complex that word and that concept is. It's not like copyright. We're like, this is ours and no one can use it. It's more like, yeah, this is ours, and then it's also claimed by others. And so we get that a lot with Shukach Adi and Shuknach Adi, where you go back and there's so much that was shared, marriages and like in-laws and other things were like, and then songs and names and other things like that. So it shows you the closeness of our clan structure. And then some of them you start to reveal like, oh, these clans were actually really close to each other. And so those are good things also to sort of, to just think about. Oh, yuck, eh. Sheesh. Okay. So these are good. These are really good discussions to have. But I suggest let's take a break, and then we're going to come back and do some structured, guided sort of lesson things. And we can always have these discussions about, some of them are cultural things, and it's important. But then there might be like language things where it spirals us off into these other sort of things we're thinking about. And it's important to just go there, because we're going to keep filling these blanks that we might have. Okay, take 10, and then we'll come back and got a little slideshow for you guys. Sorry, I forgot to. We missed some things. Okay. So we work on pronunciation. We learn the names for common things, which are nouns. We develop some basic reading and writing skills. We learn common and useful phrases, and we start learning how to substitute into those phrases. I want water. I want money. I want food. I want shoes, right? Then we learn how to use some verbs and start doing, I, you, him or her, some basic conjugation for person. We learn some interjections like ha'eh and hadla, nana'i, and all these fun things, and learn how to say. Then we start looking at how the grammar works, verbal structure. We start learning how to modify nouns. They could be little, plural and little. They could be possessed. We start learning about direction and relational terms. Towards the ocean, away from the ocean, on the table, under the table, around the table. Then we start learning more about verbal structure. we start learning about roots, prefixes, and classifiers. And then we start, through all this, we're learning Tlingit concepts, philosophy, spirituality, worldview. So that's kind of what I propose we do. But then if you guys have questions and other thoughts, we can go in those directions as well. But this is sort of the rough path of where we're going in the canoe. Sound okay? Any questions? Oh, Gook. How'd it gone?
Oh, at the high school. So I work with Linda Schrack now, but she's teaching Haida up there. And she told me one of the problems that she's been having is kids have been going to her class and asking her how to say things in Tlingit. And then she gets confused and she's like, I don't know. I only know the Haida terms. So I think we need some better. I've had other students come up to me and say, do you speak Indian? Which is just really a weird thing to say. Mm-hmm. So I feel like, those language posters, if I could just break it down like that and just post them everywhere instead of explaining it over and, I don't mind, but it does take some time.
Right. But we have, some posters. I think I talked about this maybe the other day, is under resources and posters. These can be printed as up to 12 by 18. If you need bigger, let me know, and I could make some that are larger than that as well. And then I was talking to Ronalda Cariente Brown, who works here at UAS and is the Assistant Dean of School of Education. And we were talking about a project where we'd find some money and just print a bunch of these posters and send them to all the schools. Because I remember we were talking about language normalization, which means how likely are you to see it or to hear it? That's what I think of it as. And we were talking about that we were up in the Haynes School, and someone asked me what it meant, and I was sort of telling them, and I was like, for example, let's walk around and see if we see any Tlingit anywhere. Because we were spending the night in the school, and we didn't. We saw 0 Tlingit written anywhere. And so that's something, and so, but one of the things you can help comfort Linda with is, one time I was teaching beginning Tlingit, and I had a student who said, my dad is one of the last Tlingit speakers on Prince of Wales. I was like, oh, that's great. And then we were working on vocabulary, and we got to halibut. I said, chat. And he stopped, and he says, wait. My dad says halibut is kagai. And I said, you go tell your dad he's speaking Haida. So it was great. A poster of the language families. Oh, okay. That would be great. Yeah, so just a little bit more. Well, one would be through the Alaska Native Language Center. They have really nice posters of the languages of Alaska. And then working with the school to sort of make sure that folks know. If you're going to school in this area, you should know, you should know what Tlingit is, and you should know what Hatkil is, and you should know what Samalgech is. And so those are some things that we probably need to put an emergency plan into place so that people know some of those basic things.
Please do. Yeah, the posters that you had, you had it in like smaller paper form, but from ANCSA class, and you had other posters of language families or some language groups. If you could just like blow that up to poster size, that'd be really great. Or if there's somewhere I could find that, because the teachers have no idea.
I can send her a copy of it, and she can print it as big as she wants, or you can order them laminated from the Alaska Native Language Center. But do you want to, this is do you want to give me your email address?
Okay.
I'll send you guys an email. I'll send you both an email. I'll send you both an email with the actual poster attached to it.
But what she's saying is there are people in high school that want to learn Tlingit.
Yeah. So I guess
I meant students too, not teachers. But yeah, a lot of the students, I just think that they're going to classes kind of anywhere just to figure out. I think they think that some people know all the languages at once or something.
Okay. Yeah, we will work on that. Sheesh.
I also do want to advocate for Yakdushi that she does teach Tlingit classes on Tuesdays here in Ketchikan. So you might want to refer them to that as well.
Sheesh. Like,
Just to ask, I don't remember if you said this or where I heard this, but is there a way to be able to type on a computer in the language? Because there is some things I want to correct over at the tram with some of the language.
yes.
And add.
So let's have a tech day on Tuesday. It's funny to me because I'd say I was teaching a class when I was like, tech day on Tuesday, and we would never do it.
I really need it just because I just want to correct stuff over at the tram, and I don't like how they have some format on there, and
Okay.
they don't have a lot of correct things. And then I'm starting to realize not a lot of people know the language up there. And like I said last Tuesday, a lot of the tourists really love asking me questions about the language, about the culture. And I just want to correct that because I don't like how they put just asking how is the person. And then I remember hearing from when she mentioned on how it's better to say yak rather than just yak, just because that's the informal way.
Mhm.
And that's what I want to correct.
Okay. Okay. Yeah, so next week I'll show you guys some keyboards and then how to make these letters, and then we'll talk a little bit about that kind of stuff. There are 61 letters in Tlingit. We're bringing the gamma back because we did a lot of work in Teslin this summer. I was like, we just need to start writing it because I am hearing it all the time up here. And so a couple of concepts I want to sort of push us to talk about when we think about reading and writing and Tlingit. Names are just a very complicated thing. So don't worry about names, but just regular sort of words where we've already got them written down. We know how they sound. We know how they're spelled. A couple of different things to keep in mind. One is when we talk about a letter in Tlingit, we're not talking about the actual character, right? So for example, with this CH apostrophe, that's three things, sure. But I consider that one letter because it's one sound to one symbol. There are a couple of exceptions here, which we'll figure out as we go along, but it's pretty darn close. And so another thing to sort of think about, like ch'ak, that's a three-letter word. So the Tlingit spelling bee would be so easy if you just did it like that. Spell chalk. Then you just drop the mic and walk off the stage, right? Things could get kind of long. But the other thing is sort of, as we sort of practice this, this is something that could come into your routine so that you practice spelling a word and you count the letters. Just let your mind sort of seeing that because it's three sounds. And so this is something I think that helps you. You could learn how to read and write pretty fast in Tlingit. It's a matter of just sort of hearing the differences between a few of the sounds. But then also once you sort of see it, being able to read that stuff by making some of the sounds. And a few of the sounds are pretty sneaky. The ones that are in gold here are not found in English. And so let's talk a little bit about the basic structure of Tlingit. So Tlingit, basically a verb is the most powerful thing in the language. There's lots of stuff to it. When people go from learning about the language to speaking the language, it's because they've internalized this structure. And so we've tried to do a lot to sort of diagnose it, make lots of sort of things with lots of colors and other things to just show you how it works. But there's these sets of threes. There tend to be these sets of threes. So when I say a verb, I'm talking about one actual word. It's written as one word, right? And then the preverb would be something that comes before it that affects that verb, and the postverb would be something that comes after it that affects that verb. With Tlingit, there's always more stuff in the front than at the end. Tlingit loves to put all its stuff right up front. Okay? When you look at that verb itself, you have a prefix, a stem, and a suffix. All the magic usually happens in the prefix. That's where everything tends to happen. The stem is composed of a root and then what we call stem variation, which means is the vowel long or short, high or low. Stem variation is something you worry about later. When you start thinking about verbs, I think you start thinking about the prefix. And then you just sort of the root, right? The prefix and the root, the prefix and the root. Those are the most important things for you. And then as you sort of hear things, you'll be like, that's a verb, that's a verb, that's a verb. I hear that verb. Right? That's something going on with there. So the prefix is made up of several different parts, and they have to go in this order. If there's an object in the verb, that will be the first thing. Thematic, we call it a thematic prefix. That means it's a little short thing that means something. Sh is the end of something. Sh is the head of something. Ch is the opening. And so you'll ka is a horizontal surface. Ya is a vertical surface. So you'll get some things in there that mean something. And if you add a thematic prefix or take it away, it's a whole new verb. Okay? Then there's this area of conjugation things. If you're going to move this verb into a different mode, which you might call tense in English, that's where it's going to happen, right there. For the future, for the perfective, things are going to change right in there. And this is where it gets a little sneaky for some folks, but it's highly predictable. Lots of variables, but totally predictable. And we're not going to worry about what these things are called. These are all conjugation things. We'll look at them later. Then there's the subject. So the subject is the doer. The object is kind of receiving the verb, right? I did it, him. That's generally how it works.
Which one is the doer?
What's that?
Which one is the doer?
The subject. So in English prefers to go subject, verb, object. I did it to him, right? And then, or I saw him. Let's just do that. I saw him. Okay. Tlingit, but it could be, English is a little bit negotiable, right? You say, it was him that I saw. We're getting a little fancy, right? Tlingit must go, him I saw. Goes that way every single time. It cannot be manipulated. And if there's an object pronoun and a subject pronoun, you have to have things in there. Okay? And we'll look at this of like, what does that mean? And then we'll start looking at examples and stuff like that. And then every verb has a classifier. Okay? And the classifier is the coolest thing in the business. Not many languages have classifiers. I think they're called classifiers because of Tlingit, because that's what Zeosh told me. It's like, yeah, that sounds cool, we did it. But if you change a classifier and you have a totally different verb. Generally, what the classifier does is it sort of says, what is the verb doing? Right? And we'll look at some examples next week because we're out of time. But the classifier has function in the verb. And you have to know what the classifier is. And then you can move it around within that group. But when we start next week, we're just going to start saying some words. Because we've warmed up a little bit too much. And so now we'll do some things where we'll just practice saying some words. We won't think about the ins and outs of grammar. But we're going to dip into that. You know, it's like there's a little pool of super icy water. We're just going to go soak in it for a second, then we're going to jump out. But that icy water makes you strong. Okay. Gonna cheese train aya hat di. Just to cut you han. Ye go aya khwan. Ye tu ye ti awe hashish ko has ye katangi. Khasaku wasa ye gach ye tlaq. Aqa awe hat chant kisani. Has to ya aya has wuj in ye gach tu sene. Cheese. Ucha.
Cheese.
That's cheese.
Buenas cheese again, honey.
Aya kegan cheese.
Buenas cheese, Diagon.
Nation story. Story in Nash.
Oh yeah. Anybody? Are these who brought these?
Alice Pugoyodach.
Oh, yeah.
She told you to go and take the whole box.
If anybody needs a verb dictionary, they're right there.
There's another one here too.
Oh, wait, it's a.
Are these for keepsies?